wanted to get into this topic, right? Because the audacity of Pennsylvania, right? So right now, did y'all know right now in Pennsylvania the minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour? Did y'all know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're well aware. Okay, so yes, that hasn't changed since 2009. If you look at it, that was 2 years before we graduated, so we was like 16. We are like
Mm-hmm.
32, 33 now. All right, so follow me. Recently, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives passed a bill that will raise it to $15 an hour by 2029. All right, so that's 3 years from now. Meanwhile, if we compare nearby states, the states around us already moved on. So in New Jersey, the minimum wage is around 15.92, almost $16. In Delaware, it's $15. And in Maryland, where you live, Chanel, it's already $15 too. So basically, they're telling me that some people can literally just go across the bridge into New Jersey and Maryland and make double of what Pennsylvania currently offers. So Chanel, I want to start with you because you do currently live in Maryland. So I want to ask you, what are your thoughts in regard to the 7.25 minimum wage in Pennsylvania in today's time?
I think it's so unreasonable because gas right now, where I live at, is like $3.99. I know I posted it on my like Facebook a while back, and people were saying that it was already $4 when I was complaining about three. I think it was $3.50 at the time. So $7.25 to get to work and drive and all that, you're spending your check on gas because gas is expensive. It just doesn't make sense. Rent is up, like electricity, because they're trying to build these data centers. Like it just makes wherever you live unlivable. Like you will probably need to live with other people. And I know like in our Western world, lots of people don't live together. So, it just makes it so like unlivable for a lot of hardworking Americans. Like a lot of people are working really, really hard to afford just basic necessities, gas, electricity, water, food, and housing. And people cannot afford to live like this. I think it's really alarming. I think it's just sad, really. But at the same time, I'm hoping and praying that they could, I know they just passed the bill for 2029. But I just think that's just too long. I think 2029 is too far out. Gas is $4 today. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? It's too far out. So I am praying for everybody who's trying to make it right now, who living check to check, who's just trying to get by. I am praying for those people because this is the type of stuff that make people go out and do crimes and do stuff that's unethical and just do things that they normally wouldn't do because they got to feed kids. So I'm just keeping people in prayer that they can get through. Yeah.
There we go. No, thank you for that and everything. And Connie, I want to get your opinion on that as well. What are your thoughts on the minimum wage in Pennsylvania, where we live at, still being $7.25? So it's the same price from when we were 16 years old. What are your thoughts on that?
We are so behind, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Like my personal opinion, like kind of like Chanel said, 2029 is way too far away. Like people need money now. And again, my personal opinion, in this economy, like the average person, you need at minimum $20 an hour to survive. That's $40K a year. That's like, you got to live at home with your parents. You can't have no student loan debt, no car note. Like that's just to survive, to be able to contribute what you contribute to your household, buy food, maybe like pay your car insurance or your phone bill or whatever little extra stuff you have. Like, and that's only with $20 an hour. And I feel like it definitely makes people look at, or going to make people look at what they're spending their money on. Like $7.25 an hour. Gas is $3.99 here in PA. That's not even 2 gallons of gas. You can't even get 2 gallons of gas with $7.25 an hour. And that's before they tax it. It's ridiculous. And it I don't believe, it's a hill I'll die on. You need at minimum $20. an hour. And people will say, you got to cut back, you got to make it work. People shouldn't have to cut back or make it work to stretch their dollar. Like it need to be $20 by 2029. We should already be at 15 if that's what so many people are already doing. It's so many other states, nearby states, literally across a bridge.
No, I agree with you. And that right there is the crazy part for me. And let me clarify something real quick, because this is the thing right here. It just passed the House. It didn't even go to the Senate yet. So the Senate is most likely going to reject it, you know? So again, this is like a proposal for, they're proposing the $15 an hour. Am I hearing something? They're proposing the $15 an hour. My bad, I thought I was saying something. But yeah, they're proposing the $15 an hour minimum wage for Pennsylvania, you know? So the fact that they're proposing that, and it's not something that's already official, to me, that's the crazy part right there. Again, the other states, you are literally able to go to Delaware, go to New Jersey, and make a higher wage, you know? So the fact that we are behind like this really says a lot in times. Like y'all said, the way food is priced nowadays, it's gonna be $20 by 2029. Like, what are we talking about, you know? So again, the thing with me with this is the fact that how are people ever supposed to catch up? Like, how can people catch up ever? And this reminds me of that Freeway song, you know, when he be like, when the heat stop working, I'm gonna rob me a person. Like, I can understand how someone can go into that mindset, because 725, that's really unlivable. And then the thing that gets me as well, because when I look at these things, I look at the comments, and people in the comments be like, well, if they push the minimum wage up, then everything else gonna go up. It's already high. Like, at this point, I'd rather be making more money and trying to survive in this high economy than not pushing my money up, but everything's still going up anyway. Like, I don't understand that mindset of a person. Maybe y'all can break it down for me, but every time I see that, to me, I'm like, so you're okay with everything else going up, and it's already going up. But if they push my minimum wage up, like, it's the same thing. Everything already expensive. Like, to me, that argument never made sense. I don't understand that.
It doesn't.
So Chanel, I want to ask you this, Chanel, because you are currently in a state of Maryland where it is already $15. When you hear Pennsylvania saying they'll get there by 2029, does that sound like progress, or they're dragging their feet?
Well, when I thought about it, I do. It sounds like they're trying to drag their feet out, because if the states around you, like your surrounding area, can do it and see, you know, the fruits of people going out and working and getting a higher wage, then it's proof that $15 an hour is not going to drastically increase costs. People still go to Delaware to get stuff, and Delaware has $15 an hour. So Pennsylvanians still go to Delaware to avoid paying taxes. You know what I mean? So Delaware is not so expensive where you're like, oh, I'm not going there because their $15 minimum wage went up, and now, you know, a bag of chips is $7. Like, it's not, you know, it's not at a point where it's unlivable and that is so terrible that everything is expensive. And I just think, with those states being like in close proximity to Pennsylvania, that's just going to drive people to go to Jersey and Delaware and Maryland for jobs, which is leaving jobs empty in Pennsylvania, or the job market is just going to be, the working conditions be terrible, because there won't be as many people working in the Pennsylvania state, because they're going to be in Jersey or Delaware or Maryland, like me. So I mean, I didn't move because of the money, but still, like, you know, it's one of the things that I'm like, okay, this is all right. Like, you know, and, you know, having livable wages and allowing people to provide for themselves creates safe communities. Creates communities where people are invested in it. They are doing well for themselves and able to put back into that community and putting back into the economy. So if you can't even put back into the economy because the economy is it's lackluster, then I think it's Pennsylvania really not doing right for the people.
Right. No, listen, I agree with that 100%. And it really goes to show like how far behind we are. And the fact that even getting this passed again through the House, and then knowing that it's more than likely to be denied at the Senate, you know, goes to show the times that we live in, and it's always turned down. I try not to make things political, but it's always turned down by the Republicans. You know, the Senate Republicans always turn it down, specifically in Pennsylvania. I don't understand what the reason is, because at the end of the day, like you were saying, I just feel like if people got a little bit more money in their pocket, they're a little bit happier, you know, which means that maybe crime will go down. Maybe, you know, people can actually have a quality of life. Because then if you're making $725 an hour, then you probably got to work $725 an hour just to get by barely. I'm pretty sure that's not going to get you all the way by, but just to get by barely, you know. And then there's this conversation right here I want to ask y'all, or I want to get your opinion on it, because some people feel as though, well, if you work at McDonald's, if you work at Chick-fil-A, even though Chick-fil-A minimum wage is not $7.25, but people feel as though that if you didn't go to college or you know, go to higher education or actually get a career, then that's like, you know, the cost of not doing that. What are your thoughts on people such as fast food workers or what people may deem a low quality job should not get a higher minimum wage? I'll start with you first, Connie.
I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Anybody that gets up and goes to work, whatever that job is, deserves a livable wage. And the same person that works at McDonald's and the same person that's a custodial worker or whatever they are, like, they're a human being. They have bills to pay. They have a family to take care of. They deserve respect. Like, that's something I'm big on in the workplace. And when I'm traveling, like, you have to treat these people with the same respect. You're a human just like me, no matter what job you do. And somebody have to do the job, or I'm not going to have no burger, or the trash not going to be taken out at work, or like whatever the case may be. Like, I don't believe in something being like a lower end or a lower quality job. Like, everybody has to do something or we wouldn't have it.
Exactly. No, I agree with you. What are your thoughts on that, Chanel, in regard to people thinking certain jobs or low quality jobs should not get their minimum wage raise because of lack of, you know, higher education or pursuing a career?
I think that people, first of all, I want to say I agree with Connie on, like, people deserve a livable wage no matter what job you have. You go to work, you clock in, you do what you're supposed to do, you deserve to be paid enough to live your life. But at the same time, I think a lot of, like, in today's world with social media, people are too invested in other people. Why does it matter what I'm doing? Like, why does it matter what I'm doing? And why do you feel a need to dictate that my job is lower importance and I shouldn't get paid? You know what I mean? I just feel like that is such a I don't know. It's just so annoying.
Like classes.
Yes, classes. And it's like we're all working class people, you know, and it's just so disheartening that, and people only say this stuff online. They don't go to your face or go to McDonald's. Well, that lady at Family Dollar, that video, she was trying to say that girl working at Family Dollar. But the average person wouldn't go into your job and say, you work here, you don't deserve XYZ. You know, but outside of that, I do feel like, you know, people are just too invested in other people. Y'all just too invested in what other people doing. So yeah, but people deserve a check. Like you said, if you work in building service, you deserve respect and you deserve a check.
I like that. You deserve respect and you deserve a check.
Period.
That's look. I don't even say period. Listen, I want to say this because now I want to speak from somewhere. First, I don't make minimum wage, you know. But one of the jobs I have, people may look at it as a you know lower job or whatever. So let me discuss Starbucks a little bit. You know, Starbucks most definitely I can say pay somewhat of a livable wage. You know, it's definitely not $7.25. You know. But you're definitely making more than $15. Let me say that, you know, and it's a lot of things with Starbucks that people don't understand. So I know with me personally, one of the reasons why I work at Starbucks because you have to work at least minimum 20 hours to get health insurance, you know, and for me for someone who, which we'll get into, pursuing something such as journalism, which it ain't like a nursing degree where I could go to school for a year and then I'm guaranteed a nursing job. This is really all about networking, So working somewhere at a Starbucks that have great benefits, like, some of the best benefits you would ever have out there. For them to not pay more than what they're paying, they're making up for it in other ways, if that makes sense, So like, of course, the free coffee you get there, but like the free coffee beans weekly, the free mental health services that you're able to get, if you want to go to school, they pay for your full tuition, not partial, full tuition,
Wow.
So jobs like that will make up for it on the back end, And then I also want to talk about the other job I work at. I work at Everybody Eats Cafe. Now, normally, typically a serving job, and it was funny because this just kind of was a conversation recently where people didn't know that servers made like $2.83 an hour, whereas most servers, they don't bank on that paycheck, they bank on tips, I want to say thank God Everybody Eats is not one of those places. Like, I'm definitely not making no $2.83 an hour or whatever. Actually make a livable wage plus tips, And then what I like about their hustle and their style over there, they don't solely depend on a restaurant to make money. We got movie caterings, we got events, it's just like so many other ways to make money that I ain't gonna lie. When I first started working there, and I had to Chanel, I said I gotta do an episode on all the different jobs I had. So when I had to make a stand and leave the previous job, they were one of the jobs I reached out to, and they accepted me open arms, but then I had that concern, like, oh my God, like, are they gonna be able to pay me, a livable wage? Mm-hmm. And to my surprise, they weren't able to, because of like the hustle that they got, and they believe in like what you were saying, Connie, people deserve a livable wage, and for them to be a small Black-owned business, I was very surprised at, how similar it may have been to other jobs I had, again, going to account, it's tips one Friday, paycheck next Friday. So I feel like I'm getting something every week in conjunction of the other things I do, So those are examples, because I know that if a small business can do it, these corporations definitely can
Absolutely.
do it. Like that don't make no sense that they're not doing it. And as much as I understand that people, need their jobs, and I don't knock anybody for doing what they got to do to pay their bills, but there's no way that these corporations cannot pay a livable wage. Ain't nobody saying they got to make the same amount as a nurse. They got to make the same amount as, a doctor. But the key word was livable wage, something that they can live on, somewhat survive on. Hell, they got to get two of those type of jobs. They can kind of make ends meet. But with $7.25, that's literally inhumane. Mm-hmm. And I ain't gonna say that part, but that made me understand why maybe some people may not make the best decisions in life, because this is ridiculous. You got people, again, I don't condone any of this. You got people, killing CEOs nowadays and everything because of outrage like this, So the fact that in Pennsylvania that it's already going to be rejected and they're trying to do this by 2029, when the other states might have already been at $30 by now, like the trajectory of catching up for Pennsylvania is going to be very, very minimum if they don't do something quick about this, So hopefully they most definitely change this minimum wage and get us to, like Connie was saying, at least $20 an hour, at the very least $20 an hour. That's my thoughts on that. That right there just pissed me off. I don't understand, But in closing, in regard to that, I want to ask y'all this, ladies. I know you just said this kind of first, Chanel. What do you think the minimum wage across the U.S. should be? And I don't want to put pressure for you to put an exact number, but do you think it should be higher than what the current minimum wage is in Maryland, like $15 and $16 an hour?
I really do think around the $20, like Connie said, because you do have to factor in taxes. Okay. Every time I say, we be at work, oh yeah, they paying like $300 for us to go to their training. Okay, well, add that $50 to my check. Cause that $300 is going to be so taxed that I'm not going to see that $300. I'm going to see $50. So it needs to be at least, I would say $20, $22. Because we gotta factor in these taxes. It's crazy. I just feel like minimum wage, I honestly think it should be a thing. I think it should just be a wage. Okay, this is the job. This is the wages that we paying. Like, we shouldn't have like the minimum amount that I can pay you. Like that. That's, to me, it's already a setup. It's already set up for me to be like, well, you're gonna start at the bottom. We're gonna pay you less, but you're gonna do all this work, and then we're gonna give you 10 cents every year that you don't get fired. Like, it's to me, it's a setup. But
the raises, oh my God, that you said that the raises be a slap in the face.
2%.
Like, what is that? Like, no, that be the part right there. And oh my God, and you literally had said something. And I forgot what you had. I'm gonna get it when it's my turn. But Connie, same question. What are your thoughts in regard to the current minimum wage in states such as New Jersey and Maryland? Do you think $15 an hour is enough? If not, what do you think the price should be for a minimum wage, or if there should even be a minimum wage, like Chanel was saying?
I can appreciate that in 2026 they are already at $15 or $16 compared to Pennsylvania, but I do stand on the minimum you need to survive is $20 an hour, like across the board, no matter what you're doing, at minimum. Like, I even feel like that's important because, like, when you think about fast food jobs sometimes, or like summer camp jobs or whatever, like stuff that teenagers would do, like, this is setting them up for their life. They may not go to college. They may try to start a career through McDonald's corporate or through whatever organization they're working with, or go to a trade school or something. Like, we still got to set them up for success as well, whether you're a young person just starting out or you're an older person in any capacity of a job. So I stand on, at minimum, $20 if we had to have a minimum wage.
Yep. Listen, I definitely agree with you in regard to that as well. Definitely got to have a wage that's livable. And then when you take in factors such as, people with children, health issues, trying to survive, eat, and everything, like, to me, it definitely should just be a wage. I kind of like how she has said that. Mm-hmm. The thing that also gets me in regard to everything is the fact that America is trying to normalize this. Like, this should not be normalized. Like, it's trying to be normalized that we have to work 2 or 3 different jobs, just to survive. And then when people feel like harming themselves, then people be like, oh, well, they try to make it seem like you chose that job. And sometimes people are dealt the hand that they are given, So hopefully Pennsylvania can definitely get it together in regard to that. Hopefully they can push the wage up, because I don't even have the words. I'm sorry. I don't even have the words. Like, to me, it's ridiculous. I don't understand. Yeah. Like, I don't understand how this is even legal at this. But that's pretty much slavery. Like, you're pretty much on the plantation. Like, at this point, release yourself, And again, I know that's easier said than done for most people, But hopefully something happens in regard to this, because that really can't be life. And my heart goes out to anyone who have to scrape those pennies and try to survive, So hopefully things change in the next few years in regard to that, and there's some progress being made, So we'll see who holds them accountable.